Good morning and welcome to Talking Cafe Live. My name is Lucy Tobias and I am one of the Home First community agents working to support people in Somerset. And I'm really excited because this morning I have joining me Jane Knowles from Somerset Activity Sports Partnership. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for
Jane,
having me.
maybe you can tell. It's great to have you here. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about Somerset Activity Sports Partnership. I'm going to ask you to hang on just a moment because I can see that we've got 5 people watching, and we'll just give it a couple of minutes to see if we get a few more people. Sure. Yeah, we've got 5 people. Okay. We'd love this to be an interactive. Say again?
It's a slight sound delay for Lucy and I, so that's going to be, we'll probably talk over each other. But for those people who are just sat waiting, you know, if you wanted to stand up and sit down again, if you're able to do that, then please feel free to move a little bit until we get to the point where you need to, where you wish to sit down and have your cup of tea while we're doing the talk cafe.
Great idea. I love that. And how many people sit at, you know I sit at a computer far too often, and yeah, I love to get around and move. So standing up and sitting down, or even just, I suppose, a little bit of stretching.
A little bit of stretching, but Lucy and I, before we went live, were just talking about I'm standing. I tend to stand for all my calls now because I was spending way too long sitting. Lucy went, oh, maybe I should be standing as well. So, but Lucy's going to stretch instead. So,
Or maybe I'll stand up and sit down.
little
okay.
As we go. Whatever floats your boat.
So we have doubled the number of viewers in our little stretch time, so it feels a good time for us to get going. Jane, would you be able to tell us a little bit about SASP, what it is, and how those people watching could benefit from getting involved?
Okay, so Somerset Activity and Sports Partnership, SASP, and I've been logoed up behind me. So we are really a charity that works across Somerset, looking at the health and happiness of people's physical and mental health through physical activity. And lots of people think about physical activity and immediately think about disappearing to the gym and getting sweaty and all of those things. Actually, we're all about going to enjoy the beautiful county that we have. You know, money shouldn't be a barrier. It should, you know, walking is absolutely wonderful way to move and wonderful exercise. And getting sweaty is not where it's at. Actually, for your health, moderate activities where it is. And we, I don't know whether anybody's heard of the talk and sing test. So if you're working at moderate activity, you should be able to talk to somebody, but singing might be a little bit, well, it might not be your best song that you've ever sung. Well, if you're going at vigorous activity, then actually talking and singing might be tricky. And low level activity is when you can sing and talk very happily. So, but we really want, as I started this, with just getting people to sit a bit less. If moving is a difficult thing for you, for your mindset, then actually just sitting less, you know, making sure that during in those advert breaks, you do get up and make a cup of tea and don't get some poor other hole in your house to go do it. So get up and stretch. So we're just asking people to move more and to think a little bit more about actually bodies were made to move, and it doesn't really matter how you move them. Yeah, made to move. So I don't know.
It's really interesting.
So
It's interesting actually, because I sometimes have the radio on at home, and I'm working from home at the moment, and at 11 o'clock, the radio station that I listen to has Feel Good 5 on, which is like an opportunity to listen to some music, and I really like to dance. And it's always exactly the same time as the Talking Cafe. So if I'm listening to colleagues or live myself, I can't do both. But yeah, I love a little bit of dance around the house in between some calls.
Yeah, during lockdown, I had, like you, Lucy, will tend to put my favourite music on my Alexa in the kitchen, and had happily making spaghetti bolognese, and as I twirled and danced to my favourite music, managed to splatter my kitchen with good old tomato sauce as I was doing a little bit of a twirl. So I'm not recommending doing it while making spaghetti bolognese, but a good dance around the kitchen while you're cooking tea is never a bad thing. So yeah, and I think the thing for me is actually move, all of those people who've been on, who go dancing, even if you just do it by yourself, that makes you feel good. It actually makes you feel like happy. It makes you smile often. And smiling is a good thing for all of us, particularly during times like this. And many people get very anxious about coronavirus, and some people are less so, I get that, but we're all very different, and I think most of us are quite respectful that everybody feels differently, but it can be quite anxious times for you or for members of your family, and so actually any opportunity to smile is a good one, and dancing together or dancing on your own to music is a really lovely way. It brings back really happy memories, and can really make a difference to just that moment in your mental health where actually maybe you just want a little bit of a boost, but actually don't want to go troughing around your fridge for it. So, because we all find sometimes when we're a bit bored or a bit low, we tend to reach for a biscuit. And actually, I found that my best way of not reaching for a biscuit is to put some music on and distract myself, which I would choose to do. We seem to focus on dancing, but I won't show you my moves. But it seemed to be the best way for many.
Somebody in the comments, actually, Carolyn. So we've got a few people watching. We have Mel, Jane, Julie, Sarah, Carolyn. Welcome to all those watching and those that are going to watch on the replay. And Carolyn has just said that she's just stood up. I think it's sometimes so easy to get caught up in an activity on the computer or on one's phone and not move for a while. And
I think
we've actually got a question. I don't know whether you've noticed, but Carolyn has asked if the walk and talk sessions are going to be beginning again in Wellington, Taunton.
The walk and talk sessions, so we don't, as SASP, we run quite a lot of things, so we provide quite a lot of service, but we are not like a sports centre. So the service provision that we would provide are really around gaps in provision for people who are far less confident about being active and perhaps need a little more support. And often that support is confidence, because people think that they can't do things. They feel that they're not fit enough, or they've not got the right gear, or they're going to look really silly if they do something because for whatever reason. And given that we have so many women on the call, there's a whole lot about body shaming, and actually as women we are so hard on ourselves about what we look like. And I need to tell you that actually being active can really make a difference to how you feel about yourself, about achieving. And so going for 10-minute walk every day and making yourself do that, finding time to do that, can make such a difference to, wow, I have achieved that goal, for 4 days this week. Gosh, haven't I done well? Because I haven't managed to do that before. Because time is hard to find. And, I don't know whether we've got any men on the call, but for us women, I think that we're so busy putting everybody else in front of ourselves that finding time for us finding even 10 minutes to go and enjoy some fresh air and a little bit of space to just filter our day through, it's actually really tricky to find because there's always other things to do. So I suppose I would love some people on the call to think about actually, is physical activity, and I mean moving more, something that they could fit into their day? Is it something that actually they'd like to fit into their day? And so SASP's offer, I suppose, is we'll provide ways in which people can connect to be physically active, because often people don't like being active by themselves. Huge amounts on the internet to go and do, but it isn't always fun to go follow Joe Wicks or whatever it is that people are following. It's kind of nice to do it with a friend in a park or so instead of going for coffee with a friend, take a flask and go for a 5-minute stroll to the park bench, take your coffee with you, have a coffee and walk back. That's all it needs to be. It just fun ways, find fun ways in which you can just move a little bit more than you would normally in the day. And it's amazing the health benefits that you get from body will feel it and appreciate it.
Sounds good. And I know definitely for me, yesterday it got to 5 o'clock or 5:15, and I hadn't left the house since 8 o'clock in the morning because I've been working all day. And I did have a bit more work to do, and I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. And I went for about an hour, and it made such a difference to me. And there's where I live, some of the walkways are closed at the moment because of county works that are going on. And I just felt inordinately better. So I'm just having a little quick check at the comments. Welcome to those joining us. Thank you, Hannah, for posting up the SASP website. So people can contact their local sports centre, Carolyn has said, for other regular activities, can't they? And yes, that's true. There are activities that are beginning again.
So on the
and
SASP
Ellie has shared.
Sorry, you'll find the activity finder on the SASP website. So if you're not sure what's near you, it's not perfect as an activity finder, but do go and have a look. Parish magazines are often really good for saying what's out there that might be, something that's happening in your village hall or in your community. But we have health walks that operate right across Somerset. We run the West Somerset and Mendip ones, and they are all operating, and the others are coming back slowly after COVID, with other organisations doing those. They're completely free, and they are just such friendly places to be. You can go at your own pace. They're led, so you don't have to think about where you're going, which is always quite nice. If you want to have a break from responsibility, it's quite nice to someone just to, we're going on this walk. It's going to be, a 30-minute walk at a nice, easy pace. Just come along, and you'll find lots of people who love to chat. So the 30 minutes goes very, very fast, and you'll see some beautiful parts of Somerset that perhaps you hadn't thought to explore before, because we do live in the most amazing county.
We do, and some colleagues actually shared lots of wonderful places to go walking and getting out in nature. I'm actually going to get up, because you might be able to see that suddenly the sun has come out, and that I'm either in shadow or in sun. So I'm going to close the curtain and I'm going to move. You can see my bike in the background. That I had hoped to do this live out on my bike, yet the connectivity and the internet in Somerset didn't really support that. So I'm going to take my lovely bike out either today or in the next couple of days. Bear with me, folks.
While Lucy closes her curtain, I always feel everybody thinks that exercise is just good for your heart, and I know so many women particularly think about exercise, bit of a punishment because it's about weight management for them. I'd really like the people on the call who might think like that exercise a bit of a punishment for the piece of cake that you might, to actually kind of refocus their mindset about actually exercise is about loving my body and allowing it to do the things that it was designed to do. So actually by standing up, even standing up, like Lucy says, and not sitting all day, actually your body will really appreciate it, and it is showing some love. It's self-care and love to your body, which is looking after us really pretty well. But at a very cellular level, exercise actually bathes our cells when we move and our muscles contract. So that's just literally walking to the kitchen at a low level and putting on the kettle, standing up, washing up, all of those things at a very, very low level actually bathes our cells in regenerative purposes, of which, you know, what we call antioxidants, which those of you who watch L'Oreal adverts or spend your life going, I better eat blueberries or cabbage because it's good for me. Actually, exercise is a much cheaper and easier way, just walking, to actually get all those benefits for your skin and make you feel younger. And so it's a really lovely thing to do. And I'd really like you to think about repurposing things for about punishment versus exercise, for loving the fact that your body is looking after you as best it can, and actually our choice is to go, actually maybe we could help it a little bit. And actually I'm going to take a little bit of time just for me, and I'm just going to move my body a little bit. So I really want to make sure people don't think it's about sweaty and vigorous and killing yourself at boot camp. It's not. It's about going to enjoy our countryside. It's about just dancing with your children, your partner, or your friend. You know, it can be any of those things. And it is, you know, I spend quite a lot of my life telling people, you know, it's not about being sweaty or having the gear or having trainers and leopard tights. It is literally just about putting on some flatter shoes and going walking. Well, if you're good in heels, that's fine.
Sounds good.
Right.
Sounds good. That's quite funny, actually. My niece, actually, who's 2 years old, goes to an athletics kids athletics thing and chooses to run in flip-flops. Can't make it up, but it's her choice. So a few people have mentioned in the comments about how they love walking, and quite a few of those watching have got dogs. So really great way to get out there, walk with a dog or on your own or with a friend. And we'd love to hear from you, both Jane and I, in the comments. You know, what do you do at the moment? Are you active at the moment? Is there something you'd like to do more of? What are the inhibitors? What are the things that are stopping you from getting active? Because in order for us to support you, those people watching, we can come up with loads of ideas, but what's it like for you? So please do share in the comments. Ellie has said that she plays netball, run by SASP, and really recommends it. I haven't played netball since school, which is a very, very long time ago. But I loved it. At school, I absolutely loved netball. And for me, actually, my bike, here in the background, it's interesting because when I get on the bike, I absolutely love it. But the time between, sometimes I just leave it. And then each time I get on the bike, I'm like, oh, I must do this more often because I enjoy it so much. So for me,
that's
probably.
So I was just saying that's why organised activities quite nice like that, because it pushes you to find a habit to each week. And you know, we all could do a Pilates class online, or a, you know, whatever it is, a Zumba class, or a, you know, but actually when we have a time, it diarises for us and it goal sets for us. So the netball, lots of people had really poor experiences in school with sport, hate it. We run a social netball league, which will be coming back now in the new year, I think, probably. But we have had probably 300 women who have come to play netball. Some of them already play, but the vast majority, 3/4 of them, haven't played since school, didn't necessarily love it at school, but have actually just gone along because they need some players for the team, and their friends have said, oh God, come along, and absolutely love it. It's fun, it's friendly, it's a bit of a giggle. It can be quite competitive on the in the nicest possible way, but it's just a really lovely way for women to get together and enjoy each other, but actually make sure that it's in the diary, and that everybody around them knows that actually that's their little bit of time for them to go and have some adult time with other women. And that, you know, my children are in their both in their 20 and 21. Wow, that makes me feel old. But I do remember a time when my children were young, and finding that time is so precious. And once a week is often all you can just about manage. But, you know, I'm making a plea really for your, because I remember how knackering it is. Oh, am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to say that word? How tiring it is to...
It's okay.
To have two youngsters. And so if you can find a chance, if you just can find just a small amount of time for yourself, just makes such a difference. And if it's being active, then actually the double whammy of that, of looking after your body as well as connecting with others through activity, is just a lovely way to go.
Sounds good, sounds good. And can you tell us where, Hannah has posted up about the social netball links, and Ellie said about there's lots of back to netball clubs. What was I going to say? Yeah, can you tell us about where they are in Somerset, and does one have to like sign up, or is it just like a drop in? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so things like most of the things that we do, you obviously with COVID, you need to sign up so we know that people are coming. But on the whole, back to netball is just a pay and play. You turn up, you pay for your week, and then you go away again. And then you pay for the next week. So there's not that financial commitment, but it also it ebbs and flows with your life, which is great. So most of our things are, so our health walks will be just turn up and come along, but right now we're asking people to book because we can't have more than 30 on a walk. But if you wanted to do most of the sports centre classes, which is back up and running, are all bookable online. But it really depends on what sort of finance that you've got to play with for your physical activity, and really finding something that you really want to commit to. So you'll find on our website, you'll find the activity finder. So there's on the website, there's an active at home piece on the top on the menu bar, but there's also active adults, and there we have a really nice program actually funded through Somerset Skills and Learning called Well Woman, which is it's like a 6-weekly program, and you get to do an activity each week from local providers, so that if you really like it or really like somebody in the group, actually you could go together to it if you really like the instructor. So it's a bit of a try before you buy thing. So those, and we'll be this virtually very soon, actually before Christmas, at the end of September. And so, you know, we can let Lucy know, and she can pass those details on. And maybe there'll be one by you, but there is masses around you. You know, the local personal trainers. We have in West Somerset and Sedgemoor, we have things going on in the parks most weeks that are sort of more circuity based for people that are interested in that. it's difficult to say that because there's not one rule, but most of the time you can just pay and play for anything that's organised, and there's quite a lot of free stuff out there too. So I don't quite know. The activity finder probably the best way to go forward, but during these times of transition, do check before you go down that it is on, because very likely you'll need to book during COVID.
Great. Okay, that's great. And so going back to the comments, we've got some people that have said that they absolutely love walking by water. So we're quite fortunate in Somerset that we have rivers, canals, and also the sea. So for those people that aren't sure where to go and walk, there are lovely beaches. There's Kilve, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Kilve Beach, which is in Sedgemoor, and there's also there's the rivers, so there's the Taunton and Bridgewater Canal, and there's loads of great walks around.
Could I make a quick plug for the Couch to 5K app, which is a free NHS app, completely free to download, and some of you may already have used it maybe, but it's had over 1 million downloads since March, and people have said, oh, you know what, hell, I'm around a bit more, I'm just going to learn to run, and it takes you from doing nothing to a 5K run. It's a sort of walking and running app, and I had a bad hip, and so I got out of any kind of running because I also have a dog and used to trot around. Running's a strong word for what I did. I used to plod around quite happily with my dog, and I used the Couch to 5K to get back into it. Really, I think just to give me a chance, you know, a bit to goal set, I suppose, really, because it's such a simple program. It's just 30 minutes. So if you want to run, and Lucy's mentioned fantastic places that are lovely to run because they're nice and flat alongside the canal, pretty safe, nice and flat. So think about doing the Couch to 5K, and you can choose your favourite celebrity to take you through from nothing to a 5K, and all the park runs are back at the end of October, and so you'll be able to try out your 5K at a free park run on a Saturday morning if you fancy it. And they are amazing places to be, just really friendly and full of joy.
Excellent. Well, that's great. And I think Couch to 5K is such a wonderful initiative because it really is applicable to anyone. It's just a beginning place, and the top end of 5K is achievable pretty much by almost everyone. So the link to that is in the comments, and yeah, there's loads of park runs that are available. I'm yet to try a park run, despite I used to live in Buckinghamshire, and a friend who was quite a bit older than me, probably 20 years older than me, decided to start running one day, and she must have probably 40 medals now from events that she's done. And similarly to the Couch to 5K, she simply began and then joined park runs or beginners running groups, and fell in love with it, and quite remarkable. So I really think that for everyone, simply beginning is the best first step, because like with anything, food, you don't know it unless you try it.
And I
go for it. I'm going to have to find a park run near me and give it a go.
Well, there are lots of them in Somerset, so they won't start till October, but they've been given the go-ahead for October. But running groups, lots of places run women-only running groups that will take them and encourage them. There are lots of that. Those people that are interested do get in touch, particularly. You'll see the email address is inquiries@sasp.co.uk. So just use it and we will answer all your queries, you know, or if you're looking for something particular, you know, I can get a member of staff to give you a call. You know, we're really keen for people to find that makes them smile and move.
Sounds great, sounds great. And that's a lovely offer. So we will get the email address put into the comments box. And so that those people that are watching live or on the replay can contact SASP and have somebody give them a bit of one-to-one support and finding an activity that would be suitable for them and at their level, whether they are looking for something to grow into or just where they are at now. Again, in the comments, we've got some wonderful interaction, and Carolyn has shared about dancing, and again, something on my list that I'd like to do where I live. There is a dance studio, but of course has been closed for COVID. But Carolyn shared that Tone Dance in North Curry Village Hall is beginning midweek on a Thursday, 10:30 till 12, for a really friendly and welcoming group. What was I going to say? Are there dance stuff on the website?
Is the dance? Yes, normally if people, normally there's all sorts on the website. It's from the sublime to the ridiculous and all the traditional in between. So because we don't really mind how you move. I don't mind how you move. Doesn't worry me. I'm not a sports centre. I'm not after your money. I suppose the thing that we're really keen to do is we're after your commitment, I suppose, to and I don't know, a sense of achievement for doing something that is different for you. So I hit 50 last year, and last year I decided I'd try 12 new activities, so one a month. I included skydiving, which probably was my least favourite activity, if I'm honest. But I tried stand-up paddleboarding. I did a half marathon, which I walked and ran. I certainly didn't run it all. And I did, what else did I do? Oh, I did horse riding. I just did a whole load that I hadn't before, and ended up loving stand-up paddleboarding. So treated myself during lockdown to a stand-up paddle when we were allowed out on the water. So
amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. So just along the canals, I've just literally gone along Taunton canals, paddleboarding. So, you know, nowhere special. Just got an inflatable one and off I trotted. It was lovely. Apart from I did meet an angry swan.
Very popular.
Yeah.
There's very, very popular. I live by the river and there's loads of paddlers. So there's something else which someone's mentioned in the comments, which we haven't spoken about, which I feel is really important, and that's accessible activities. So somebody's mentioned that, you know, parkruns aren't something that are applicable for everyone because some people have disabilities. Could you talk a little bit about accessible activities, because those people that are watching might not be able-bodied and
yeah, so there are two bits to accessibility. There's a sort of there's a mental capacity, so people with a learning disability who might find the rules of some things difficult, and then the physical mobility side. So both things are relatively easy to deal with. We always work on the what can you do rather than what can't you do. So you say parkruns aren't accessible. There are some parkruns that are not accessible for, say, wheelchair users. So I was quite involved with the one in Yeovil at Montague, and that's definitely not accessible for a wheelchair user because the grassland is not even appropriate for a rust wheelchair that's designed for cross-country type stuff. But there are park runs that are. I think that Apex Park probably is. and I know that Long Run Meadow has a chance to do that, but there are a number that are. In terms of accessibility for, we do a huge amount on accessibility, because if you are less mobile, actually research will tell you, data will show you're far less likely to be active at recommended levels. Are 150 minutes of moderate activity with a bit of strength and flexibility thrown into. We work very closely with our partners in terms of our sports centres, but also our sports clubs and our organisations, and you'd be surprised at what actually is out there. And the better the deliverer, the more likely they are to be able to include everybody. So in terms of dance, I talked about Well Woman earlier. For Well Woman, we absolutely have had people who have had real mobility issues. We haven't had a wheelchair user, but we've certainly have people who use sticks because they're not so steady. And it's never been an issue to include people, because we tend to ask people what they'd like to do, what they're comfortable with, and the groups are such inclusive. They're really keen to include everybody, because everybody understands that the confidence of just walking through the door to something is actually a major achievement, particularly if you come by yourself. So, and everybody wants to make everybody welcome. So in terms of the specifics, you'll find specifics on the activity finder. But my advice really would be, if you've got a specific activity that you're really keen to do, then we do have a disability officer at SASP, and we would happily try to help. Oh, thank you. Someone's just stepped our disability.
Oops, wrong one.
And we would try to help. We also are really keen to extend those activities. So if you've got people in your communities or village that would like to do a little bit more with inclusive sport and activity, then we're really happy to talk to them about how they set up too, because we know the more local the opportunities, the more likely people are.
That sounds great, and I think that that's really important to have some support available to people if they want to set something up in their own area that is fitting with what they want, and a provision in place. So I'm going to check who made that comment. Steve and Eve. You've got like rhyming there, Steve and Eve. So hopefully some of what Jane has just shared and the links will be applicable and useful. Do let us know in the comments if that's useful, or if you've got any other questions. We'll really sort of welcome questions in the comments, so those people that are watching, and if there are questions and comments that are coming from people that are watching on replay, we will come and check in with those afterwards. So
yeah, I just while we talk about disability, we all talk about long-term conditions as well, so things like diabetes and pre-diabetes, cardiac rehab, all of those things, including pulmonary, respiratory conditions, arthritis, all of those things are absolutely, physical activity would be on the care pathway for your medical profession for those things, to just keep your body moving and active. And we did a webinar with the cardiac consultant from Musgrove recently, who's just like, you all know your body's best. I know your heart and I can put it back together, but actually you know your body's best. So don't feel frightened to if you're with other people and you're advising them or just with them as friends, then it's fine to be out of breath. It sounds like you guys are all dog walkers and very active, but maybe you have friends that you could help and support to be a little more active too. Certainly have a friend who's pre-diabetic actually, and we go for a walk every Saturday morning with my dog, and we stride, much to her delight.
Always good to have a stride.
Yeah, we stride, and just because she knows she needs to exercise, but she doesn't have the motivation to do it by herself.
That's a really good point. So for me, with working with clients, sometimes I do find that there is some resistance of motivation. Do you have any other tips about how to inspire, motivate those that aren't?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think most people know that it's good to move more and be physically active. I think most people know that. But doing it is a very different thing. And when people say, oh, well, I've tried that, you know, there's no point just telling them that it's good, because obviously they're really struggling to do more. So it's really good to kind of roll their resistance. So they might say, I haven't enough time, or I've tried that and I hated it, or, you know, it's just not for me. And you might go, oh yeah, well that's fine, but why don't you know? And I did this with my friend really, and I said, well, you know, I don't have lots of time. I work full time. I don't have loads of time. Well, why don't you come walk the dog with me on a Saturday for us just to. So we went really, and now she's on the couch to 5K. So, but then she's got a pushy friend. But, but you know, it's kind of, so it's not enough just to tell people that it's good, because people probably know that. I think the thing is just to keep dripping that message through, and when they are ready to change and ready to try, to make sure that actually they are given that you give them a huge, like, you're doing really well, just doing it, you know. Because lots of people go, oh, I'm going to do it every day, and I'm going to do, you know, 30 minutes every day. Well, to go from nothing to that is huge. I don't manage that. So just to allow people to congratulate people on what they are doing, make them feel good about what they have achieved. It's not a whole thing that they wish. Really, actually, it's very people. And just asking people, oh, did you manage to do that? Did you manage to do that this week? Is enough, just as a brief kind of like, I'm interested and I'd love you to do it. And don't go, if they haven't done it, just go, oh, well, maybe next week, and move on. Those things are really motivating when you're talking to friends. They're really small, but they really make a difference.
Totally. And I think that's it. It is about finding things which are akin to people, and just showing an interest, and without sort of harping on about it, and finding something what works for everyone, you know. And somebody else has shared about how sometimes chronic illness and disability do cause limitations, of course, and that's why everything is personable. You know, each of us chooses, and for most people, even and with people with illness and disability, there are some things that they can do if they want to, and it is about everyone guiding their own ship, so to speak, or choosing what works for them. I'm not a road runner, and I never have been, but perhaps a park run could work for me. So it's, I think, finding things that people bring them joy, and, you know, dancing around the kitchen or a little bit of chair stretching. If something makes one smile, it's the best thing.
Yeah, absolutely, Lucy. And you know what? It's absolutely fine. I saw you looking at your bike as you shouted park run, going, actually, maybe you're not a runner, maybe you're a son. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to do.
I love my bike.
So
out on my bike. But I think I'm going to commit. Here you go. I'm committing live on a video to getting back on my bike. It's a long while since I did an 18-miler during lockdown, and the bike is far too clean and unused.
Yeah. So I don't really like cycling.
Actually, that's a really good point, I'm gonna move because I've got something here that I did want to talk about. Here we go. This is a really great thing that I wanted to mention, and these are some CCS water bottles. Wow. Which side of the screen? So obviously, if people are getting active, it's really important to stay hydrated. So we now at CCS, the Community Somerset, have these beautiful in water bottles. So if you are watching and you're one of our clients, or you would like a water bottle, do get in touch with us. I'm going to stick a different banner on with our contact details. If you are a client, talk to your local agent about getting a bottle, and maybe there's something Jane and I could talk about off camera about an initiative perhaps to support SASP and help people get hydrated.
That would be amazing. So yeah, I mean, maybe we could just put something with the bottles that would allow people to find some of the things that they like in their area. That there's so much out there, and actually it's just I suppose that the difficulty is for people is the time, the confidence to actually go and access that stuff. Because you'll all be surprised to know that when I did my first park run, even though actually I have run for quite a lot of my life, I still spent that first park run looking behind me to see whether I was last or not. You know, it's a kind of terrifying thing, and my head's going, well, it doesn't matter, but my heart was going, oh my God, I feel really scared, and actually realised that nobody cared anyway, and I've got a back walker. So you know, if Couch to 5K is for you, or you fancy doing a run, then you can always volunteer for park run to be the back walker, so you can get a feel for the course beforehand and understand how park run works. It's a really lovely community, and the same with any group activity that SAS promotes. It's very much around do it at your level, do it so it's fun for you, and as soon as it stops being fun, don't do it.
That is a perfect thing for us to end on. So thank you so much. I think that's a really great end to this live video. Is, you know, if it's fun, do it. If it's not, don't. Choose the thing. Each of us is in control of our own lives and able to make our own choices. We're all adults, hopefully watching this. We haven't got any under 18s, maybe. But even youngsters, everyone gets the choice. It's everyone's body is their own to choose how they want to treat it, and what exercise or activity brings them joy and makes them smile. Thank you, Jane.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
I suppose I want to finish on a move more and sit less would be my final message. Move more, sit less. So
great,
thanks,
love
really
it.
Enjoyed that physical activity, so thank you.
Likewise. Thank you for joining on at short notice. Really appreciate it. And as soon as I click end broadcast, I'm getting up out of my chair. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.